everyone, welcome to my video. This video is going to be my final video for the series Spotify app. In the previous part of this series, I've demonstrated how I extracted data around various artists and tracks. All those artists and tracks were part of my Spotify account data, or to be more precise, they were part of my streaming history data for the year of 2024. Now, with all of this data in place, I decided to create my own very personalized Spotify Wrapped. A Wrapped which allows its user to interact with it. A Wrapped which gives more meaning and information. Or to wrap all of this, a Wrapped which is simply better. So I'll split this video into two parts. In the first part of video, I'll give you a very quick tour of the Spotify Wrapped I created with the help of DAX. And in the later part, I'll show you how to build some of the cool functions that I've implemented in the main project, and I'll show how I built those cool functions from scratch by using DAX. So let's get started with the first part, in which I'll give you a very quick tour of the Spotify app that I've created. Okay, over here is the Spotify app I created. This is the overview page or the home page for Spotify Wrapped. I named my Wrapped as Brapped because it is wrapped but better. Actually, this is the nomenclature logic for this. And this is the overview page. I have three charts over here, two bar charts and a tree map. The first bar chart gives the information of top 5 artists. Second one gives the top 5 artists, and the third one gives top 5 genres. So these top 5 artists or tracks and genres, they are calculated on the basis of total streams I gave to them. It means that See Moth is my most streamed artist. This particular track is my most streamed track. This particular genre is my most streamed genre. So these are calculated on the basis of streams I gave them. If we come over here, we can see that I have streamed for a total of 18k times. I've listened to around this much amount of this much tracks. I've heard around 790 artists. I've gave my 44,000 minutes to it, which sums up to around 31 days, which is an alarming number. But at least it because of this, I can have all of this data to create this project, so we can ignore it for a while. Over here, over here, I have my most looped track and most looped artist. So, is there any correlation between my most looped track and my most streamed tracks? We can see that Hust is my most looped track, and it is also in the list of my most streamed tracks at second position. And same for Panther. Panther is my most looped artist, and it is also my most streamed art. It is also in the list of my most streamed artists, most streamed five most streamed artists, top five most streamed artists. Okay, over here we have buttons that control the narrative of these three charts. If I go and click top 10, suppose I want to see who is my 10th most streamed artist or ninth most streamed artist, I can go over there and I can see that this Savdansh is my 10th artist, 10th most streamed artist. Umair is my ninth most streamed artist. Yashraj at 8, Divine at 7. Okay, same for the tracks. Now we have more tracks over here, and we'll leave it to top 5. If we go default, then we have all the artists we have, and same all tracks and same all genres. So we'll leave it to top 5. And what do we have over here? So this one over here are the buttons for the months. So suppose we want to see, I want to see. Why will you want to see? I want to see my most streamed artist for month of Jan. So if I see, still See the Moth was the most streamed artist for the month of Jan. followed by Panther and Savdanch. And if you remember, Savdanch was in the 2024 top 10th. Yes, it was in the 10th position. Same way I can go for August, October, September, November, April, anything. And the correlation will always stay same. My most looped track is here तुझसे दूर जो रहता हूँ, and it is all, it has made into the top 5 tracks, most streamed top 5 tracks. Same for my most looped artist. Okay, this is interesting. Umair is not in the top 5 list, but I'm pretty sure if we go top 10, it will be there. He will be there. Yep, there it is. So I'll deselect this. And apart from the overview page, we have three more pages. If I go over there, this is my consumption metric page. This one over here is the artist stats. This one here is track stats. So if I go to my consumption metrics, this overall gives the information of the pattern of consumption. Okay, so in the consumption page we can see that this much is pretty self-explanatory. Most looped artist, most looped track, most streamed artist with most streamed track. Okay, and images and name for both. Over here I have a pie chart or a donut chart which gives information about the tracks I listen, the explicit nature of the tracks that I listen. So it shows that I've listened lesser of the explicit tracks and more of non-explicit tracks. Over here I have a streams by playlist bar chart which shows which playlist I have played, or which playlist I have streamed more. So overall, this playlist is streamed more, the DHH. After that, followed by bedtime, then Bollywood, then English. So I've used on for this particular project, I've used these four only because I already knew that these four are the most used playlist for me. That's why I use them. Over here, this line chart over there, line plus area chart, it shows a correlation between total streams and total minutes, which is pretty understandable. The listening total, my listening was peaked in the month of March or in the month of Jan. Okay, so the listening, Spotify listening peaked in the month of March, took a fall in May, then it rose a little, then it got very low in the month of August, then it rose again in September, then it is falling. Okay, so what else we have over there? Okay, this one over here, it shows the time at which I tend to listen to Spotify more. So I've mostly heard tracks between 12 p.m. to 4 p.m. and this will change with the month, each month I think. If I go Jan, okay, for Jan it is still same, but these visuals are changing and this is also changing. We can see that overall this much, around how much, 38% of explicit tracks I listen for in Jan only. I listened a lesser amount, 29. Oh. And we were seeing this mostly heard 12 p.m. to 4 p.m. If I go Fab, it will change. Yep, it is changing. It is now 4 a.m. to 8 a.m. Will it change for March? Okay, for March it's again 4 a.m. to 8 a.m. So 12 p.m. to 4 p.m. Okay, 4 p.m. to 8 p.m. and my default or my mostly heard track time is between 12 to 4. Over here we have some more important buttons. If I go and click this after 8 p.m. till midnight, I can see that my most streamed artist changed. It is now Preetham with most streamed track host. Okay, this visual will not control these narratives and the narrative of most looped artist, and there's a pretty strong reason behind this. So suppose an artist releases its album and I and that album has around 20 tracks, which is not possible, but let's assume that that has 20 tracks. And I tend to listen to that track around 12 p.m. to 4 p.m., between 12 p.m. to 4 p.m. So whenever I'll click that, because 20 time loop of 20 times is pretty high, so it will appear each time. That is why I've disabled uh, the filter for the most looped artist and most looped track on the basis of these timelines. But it will work for the most streamed artist and most streamed tracks. So explicit, we can see that after 8 p.m. till midnight, the explicit tracks are very less. And if I go after midnight, okay, then there is a comeback of explicit tracks. This is also changed. Sacrament is the most streamed track after midnight, between 12 p.m. to 4 p.m. Okay, this is the first time I am seeing my explicit to be on the right side with around 51%. And there is one more correlation. If we see, my most streamed playlist is DHH, which mostly contains tracks of this nature, this particular nature. And this yellow bar contains tracks of bedtime and Bollywood. So if I go there, we can see that if the yellow part is high, or the non-explicit tracks are higher, the playlist which is mostly streamed is bedtime and Bollywood. But after midnight, when the explicit part is increasing, we can see that DHS is also increasing. So there is again a correlation between explicit nature of tracks and my playlists. Okay, I'll deselect this and we'll head over. Okay, let's see. Hmm. Now here we can see that my most streamed artist is CD Moth, but my most streamed track is Toby, which is by Eminem. Eminem. So let's see why is there difference. Because if I had, if I was using my normal Spotify Wrapped, there was there's possibility that this question might come to my mind, and I would want to know the reason behind this. And for that, I've created this particular part called artist stats. Huh. So in my artist stats, I'm currently viewing stats for Moth, my most streamed artist. I can see genre, their popularity. This is the artist segment which I fall in, and over here you can see that I have saved around 32 of their tracks. Okay, let's start from there. I have heard to around 73 tracks by Sidemon, streamed these 73 tracks for a total of 1168 times, more than 1,000 times, which sums up to around 2700 minutes. And if converted, it is around 45 hours of consecutive listening. These are my top 5 tracks or most streamed tracks for from Cinemoth. And over here, this is the artist segment. This one shows how many tracks I've saved. So from these 73 tracks, I've saved around 38 tracks. And this one shows the time at which I tend to listen to this artist. So it is between 12 p.m. to 4 p.m. And over here we have a skip probability. This is a cool feature. So it shows that the skip probability for this CDMON from me is 17.7%, or I can say that if my next track is by CDMON, there is a 17.7% chance that I might skip it. Okay, and over here we have a line chart which shows my activity with this particular artist. So we can see that for the month of Feb it peaked, got its first dip in May, then it again rose in June, got its dip again in August, and after August it's pretty low, and it was rising after September. Okay, so once again we'll go over there. and see what was there. So we can say my most streamed artist is Seedhe Moth. My most streamed track is Toby, which is by Eminem. So now we have seen for Seedhe Moth, and total tracks I've listened for Seedhe Moth is 73. And if we go and see this MMM is the most streamed track from Cinemoth, which I have streamed for a total of 62 times. And I'm pretty sure by looking at this bar chart, I'm pretty sure that this track also has more than 60, more than 55. This would be around 50, not 50, so 51, 52. So all of these tracks, I'm pretty sure they all are 40 plus. They all have got 40 plus streams. And now if I go and show you over here, okay, so I've heard a total of 26 tracks by Eminem, streamed them for over 226 times, invested a total of 931 minutes, which sums up to around total of 16 hours. But notice this. This is interesting. Toby is my most streamed track. We can also see it there over there. Toby is my most streamed track, and we can see the difference that Toby, there is very much difference. I think Toby is outlier over there for all of these tracks. Toby is the outlier. So we can see that I've streamed total of 26 tracks. Out of these 26 tracks, I have streamed all of these 26 tracks to a total of 226 times. And these 220, out of these 226 times, I have streamed this particular one track for a total of 162 times. So this is pretty interesting. In the case of Moth, where I had all the tracks had some uniform number of streams, but over there we can see that there is huge difference between this particular track and all of the rest of the tracks. So this is the reason why this is my most streamed track, and this is this is something that the traditional or the original Spotify app cannot do for us. Okay, also we can see over there it has a skip probability of 4%. Mm. And from here we can also have an idea. For Seedhe Moth we have more than 30 tracks, I think, for in this playlist saves, and for Eminem we can see that we have only 7. So this makes a difference. And over here we can see that for Jan the listening was very low, and this peaked in the month of September, and it peaked from July, and it yes, it got a dip in October, and in November it is the lowest, not lowest, but it is low in November as well. Okay, so one more feature over we have over there that I have not disclosed, which is this one. This is my favorite personally, my favorite feature of this artist stats page. For that, I'll show you this. So as you can see in the screen, I have my Spotify open, and I've searched for a track called this, the intro, and we can see that in the the artists for this track are these Desi Trill and Young Sammy. Yeah, so Desi Trill, I'm pretty sure that this is not an artist. Young Sami is an artist, and Desi Trill is more like the company or the music label who backs this artist. But Desi Trill, steal all the streams that was for Young Sami, because I heard this track for Young Sami, and in my Spotify account data, the intro this song will be registered for the artist Desi Trill, not for Young Sami. So it is a kind of theft, if not a theft, but Young Sami is not getting the credit that it should get. For that, I have created. This is one case, but there are also many other cases where same logic is applied. So to avoid that, I have created this particular feature called main and feature. So if I go and search Young Sami over here also, so we can see now. Okay, so this is my artist stats for Young Sami. Started listening in May, got its first peak in July, got dip in August. Okay, again rose in September, again a dip, again a rise in November. Pretty basic stuff. Most streamed song as main artist is this, and I can't see that track, which is this the intro, and this is my favorite Young Sami track. If not my, this is my favorite Young Sami track. And if I go and click feature, boom, this is it. Now I can see that my most streamed song as feature artist is the intro. Streamed it for a total of 15 times, quite low, but still it is the functionality of this, which we can't get in the traditional version of Spotify Wrapped. Okay, so it shows that I streamed this for 4 times, to sums up to around this. These are, and uh, and when I say that the intro is my favorite track as a feature artist, you can see that the intro acts as an outlier over here for all of these. And let's see. Okay, same. I can go for this artist. Yes, I can also go for some Mohit. If I go for main artist, you can see that I have heard total of 3 tracks, streamed it for a total of 12 uh, streamed it for a total of 12 times, which sums up to around 23 minutes, and it's around half an hour. Skip probability is 8.3%. Okay, but if I go feature, because I have listened to various tracks uh, just for the fact that Sammohit was featuring on those tracks. So if I go feature, we can see that I have streamed a total of 10 tracks, which is about 145 streams, which sums up to around 308 minutes, and which gives around total of 5 hours. Streaming it from my, okay, first high was in Jan, then in March, then in October. Okay, favorite track this, streamed it for around this time. Skip probability is also less, 11%. Mostly heard between 12 p.m. to 4 p.m. and saved around 5 tracks. So this is pretty interesting feature, the main versus feature. That is the reason. That is also the reason I've named this file test feature versus main. Okay, that's it. Or okay, we can also go for the breakout artist of the year. Uh, I'll show you my stats for Hanuman kind. Okay, if I go main, oh shit, I have heard it for on. I have heard only one track, that is Big Dog. Streamed it for 30 times. Started in July, gave it 4 streams in July, in August 3, 15 in September, October. Okay, skip probability is pretty high, 20%. Saved this in my playlist, but if I go and feature, you'll see that I was listening to this guy from very early time. Okay, so I've heard only 3 tracks as a feature artist, streamed them for 49 times, which sums up to this much minutes, sums up to 2 hours. 3 tracks, and this one is very less streamed. And enemies, and that's a fact is a track in which this is a Yash Raj track, I guess. Enemies is also Yash Raj track, by Kashmir. Okay, so skip probability is 6% as a feature artist, but whenever he is main artist, I'm skipping him more. Okay, and now I can go to, okay, let's leave it like this, and now we can go to this part over there, which shows stars track stats. Okay, so here I have a search bar. This over here shows the album name of that particular track. It shows name of the track, artist, popularity, and the playlist in which this track is saved, total times I've skipped this track, uh, the time in which I tend to listen to this track more, and total streams I have for this track. Hmm. And over here I have total duration, and over here we can see my average hearing duration, and over here is the explicit flag if this track is explicit or not. We can see for now because Husn is also my second most streamed track. So we can see that the more the track is most streamed or most looped, we can see that the skip time is also less, and also the average the duration, the gap between duration and average duration, average hearing duration is also less. So here we cannot extract the album name, or I can go like this is also one of my favorite tracks. Hmm. So this is it. You can see that in this particular Wrapped, I can see I can see who are my top artists. For these top artists, I can go over there and see the reason behind why they are my top artists. I can see why Hanuman Kind, how I have listened to Hanuman Kind over the course of this year. My listening to Hanuman Kind peaked as a feature artist in the month of March. As a feature artist, I've listened to a total of three tracks. If I go this track, Enemies, it is possible that okay, my one of my more favorite track artist is this guy. Oh, here you can see the magic. I've streamed Yashraj as a feature artist for a total of 227 times, which sums up to around total of 10 hours. Favorite track Upar Upar streamed it for 35 times, skip probability 15.9%. If I go main, will the skip probability increase or decrease? Or will the playlist saves increase or decrease? Let's see. I think this is pretty constant. This will not change too much. I'm not thinking that this will change. Okay, change I think a little bit. But okay, not. Hmm. Here we can see my skip probability decreased as when he was a main artist. My chances of skipping a track were less. Streamed it a total of 40 tracks, saved around 14, streamed for 363 times. Total minutes was 750 total hours. This DLL most streamed track, streamed it for 52 times, streaming it from Jan, most streamed in the month of April, and then it's been pretty low. And let's see for one more artist. He is also one of my favorite artists. So I've heard total of 25 tracks, streamed them for 328, sums up to 13 total of 13 hours. And here I'll show the magic. If Sardans is the main artist, my chances of skipping are very less. As main artist, this is my favorite track. Saved around 12 tracks from this 25, around 50% tracks I have saved of Sardans that I've listened. And if I go feature, you'll notice the drop in skip probability. It's still less, but there's still a drop of around 5%. Okay, and I think I've shown each and everything for my Spotify Wrapped. Hmm. There's nothing more to show you guys. Hmm. So thank you guys, and I'll stop this video and then I'll again record the second part and then I'll merge them together. So see you in the next part.
Everyone. Welcome to the second part of this video. In the previous part, I gave you a tour of my Spotify app that I created in Power BI. In this particular part, I'll simply show you how the logic behind some of the visuals that I've created in the main project, and I'll also show you how to create those visuals from scratch with the help of DAX and the logic behind them. Okay, so firstly, let's see what all visuals we are going to work with it. Okay. Okay, the first visual that we'll be working with is this particular visual. This one is the visual that gives me most streamed artists or the top five artists on the basis of total number of streams they have. And what is interesting about this particular visual is that I can control this visual with the help of this slicer. And one more thing that this slicer also controls this visual and this particular genre visual. Okay, and all of these are basically same, but over here it is for artists and this one is for tracks and this one is for genres. Okay, the second thing that we'll build is this particular thing, most loop track and most loop artist. As you can see, my most loop track is host, which is obviously not my most streamed track, and same for Panther, it is my most looped artist, but we can see that it is not my most streamed artist. So it is clear that we, to finding the looped artist and track, we cannot use the logic of total number of streams that we are using to build up this particular visual. So I'll show you what logic I have implemented to find the most looped track and artist. And the third and the last one would be my favorite, this particular uh, feature that I've built. So this particular feature, which is main versus feature, this allows me to distinguish a particular artist stats. Okay, so for example, we can see for youngster, I can distinguish youngster on the basis whether this artist as a main artist was a main artist for the track or it was a feature artist. So for example, as a main artist, these are the stats. Okay, but if I go feature as feature artist, these are the stats as a feature artist. So I'll show you how I built this, but I'll not show for everything. I'll just give you total number of streams, and that will give us the logic of how we can create everything else. Okay, so we are going for three things. The first one would be uh, the first one would be this particular visual that can be controlled through a slicer. Okay, second one would be the most loop track and artist, and third one would be uh, this particular feature of distinguishing an artist whether it was the artist was a main artist or a feature artist. Okay, so three things you have to build. The first one would be this one. Okay, so now let's understand this and then dive into the building part of it. As you can see over here, I have selected in my slicer top five, and this particular visual is a bar chart that is giving me five artists and the number of streams for them, and then it is being shown as a bar chart. Okay, so one thing that should be clear is we need the artist name. Okay, and then we need total number of streams for those artists. Okay, so let's quickly do that part first. Okay, in our main, okay, in a flow file. Okay, so I'll do what? I'll create a stack bar chart. Okay, in that, okay, let's not create a stack bar chart. I'll show you very step by step through a table. Okay, so this is the table I have. In this table, I'll add my artist name. Okay, this is from data frame, main data frame. I'll add my artist name. Okay, after adding my artist name, what do I need? I need total number of streams for them. So I have to create a new measure. Let's just create a new measure over here in this, and this new measure would be total streams. Okay, and for that, what I'll do is I'll count my stream ID. That was pretty basic stuff. Okay. And now what I'll do is I'll add this into my table. So if I add, now I have total streams for each artist. Now if I take a copy of this, okay, so this is the copy and I can do one thing that I can convert this into a bar chart. Now after converting this into a bar chart, you can clearly see that this is the same bar chart we want. Okay, but with some minor differences. All we want for this bar chart is to be dynamic and to be controlled by a slicer. Okay, so now we need a slicer. One more requirement is that now we need a slicer. So for this slicer, I'll create a very short table with only one, two, three, four, five records, and I'll have some extra columns in that. So why extra columns? We'll get into it later. Let's just firstly create the table. The first, I'll give it top n. Second column should be, let's, it can be anything, but let's give it number. And the other one will be, okay. So I start from here. This one would be default. Number for it, I'm giving 0, sort order 1. Okay, then after that, let's give it top 5. Number should be 5, sort order second. Let's give it 15, top 15. And now let's give it top 25. Over here we can also add 25 and let's give it 4. It's 5 and let's give it 50 and now also give it 50. Okay. And name this table as let's name this as table as what should we name it? Let's name it top end table. Okay. So we have a top end table. Now let's see what this shows in table view. Mm, okay, so this is a top end table. We have column which has these particular values that we need in a slicer, and these particular values are associated with the number column. And for number column, default has 0, 5 as 5, and same for others. Okay, and sort order is to sort our slicer. Okay, so we want this to be sorted on this particular order. Okay, so this is pretty basic stuff. And now why we use these numbers in first place? Okay, so these numbers are used so that we can create some sort of logic while building that particular visual. Okay, as you can see, when we tap on top 5, it is limiting our result to just 5 artists. That is why we have to create this logic, we have that number column. As you can see, if I tap 10, now it is limiting everything to 10. Okay, so this is pretty basic stuff. Now let's build our slicer firstly. In our slicer, what do we need in a slicer? We need top end, and I'll change its shape and layout. 5 and 1. Okay, and okay, this looks okay. This is a slicer. Uh, let's place it over here, and this is that particular thing. Okay, we can get rid of the totals that we are seeing over there. Hmm. Now what do we need? Okay, now we need only this particular thing, the connection between these two. So if we select 10, we need it to be filter out and give us only top 10. So let's build this particular part very quickly. As you can see, currently this will not work. Default 15, 25, top 5, 50. Okay, why is this not sorted? Let's sort this first so that it has a good clear view. I can use sort by column for this, and now you will see that now it will be sorted. Okay, now it is sorted. Okay, last thing, to have a logic that gives us top 5 when we select top 5. Okay, for that we will use rank X. Okay. So what RankX will do, RankX will rank these artists on the basis of total number of streams they have. Okay. After ranking these artists, what are we doing over here? We are selecting a value. Okay. When we select top five, we will use select value that will select five from top five. Similarly, zero from default and 15 from top 15. Okay. And then we'll use that particular value, okay, 5 from here, and the total number of and the ranks that we have calculated, and based on those ranks we will filter out a result just like this. And one thing to note that we have to return anyhow total number of streams, because if we are not returning the total number of streams, we cannot build this particular visual. Okay, so let's create a new measure, and let's name it top, or what should I name? Most stream, top and artist is the name. Well, the first variable that I'll create would be the val is the value that we have created. Okay, and we will use top and tables number for this. Now, as you can see, we have selected top five, and when this DAX code will run, the val will have value of 5. Okay, another one would be the ranks. For that, I'll use the rank X, and the table we'll use all for it. And we need artist name or track name. We need artist name. Okay, the x the expression for it would be total streams. Okay, my bad. Okay, so this will give ranks for total stream. Okay, we have skipped the remaining part because by default rank X is set to descending, so we don't need to worry about it. And okay, we have got the rank and we have also got the value. Now we are good to return a result. So I'll use a conditional logic. Okay, so if selected value is 0, meaning that if we have selected default, that means 0. So if val is equal to 0, this means that we should return what? We should return everything that we have already. Okay, so let's do this. Return total number of streams. Okay, now another thing, what else should we return if we have not selected default? For that, I'll use another one more if statement. Okay, so if value that we have set, or if Rn, the rank, is less than equal to val, it will filter out my ranks till the value of val. Okay, and then return uh, return the total number of teams only for those. If not, then blank. I'll close this up and close this one, and now it will work. If I go over here, this particular visual, I will add the top and artist measure that we just created. Okay, okay, it is showing for everything. Now let's try to fix this up. I think I may have messed up somewhere. Mm, 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 Okay, I cannot use main artist over there. Now it is fixed. Okay, so as you can see, this there are blank values in it. And why there are blanks? There are blanks because we are limiting it to 5 only. Okay, and what are the values over here? Okay, for that, I'll just simply to give you a view, I'll sort this by in descending order. And when I sort this in descending order, now I can see that I have got all the uh, total streams for uh, all the top 5 artists. If I go default, then it will give for everything. If I go top 15, it will limit at the 15. If I go 25, it will limit everything to 25. And to enhance the view of it, if I will drop this particular column, this measure, Now you can see, I will sort this in descending order. Now you can see this is the view that we want in a final output. If I go 15, now I can see my artist name as well as total artist. Okay. Similarly, what I'll do, I'll create one more of this. Okay. And in this particular visual, I will remove total streams and add top and artist. Okay. If it's selected 5, then it is showing everything till 5. If it is selected 15, then it is going till 15. And we can verify this from over here also. Okay, if it is default, then it shows everything we have. Okay, so this was the first part. I can also rename this into top 10. So this was the first visual that we created. The similar steps we can follow for tracks and genres, and the result will always be same. Okay, and this was it. Now the designing part I'm skipping. Okay, now let's come to this most looped artist, how to find the most looped artist. Okay, let's create a new and rename this to most looped artist. Let's do it for tracks instead. Okay, most looped track. So how to find the most looped track? As we can, as discussed earlier, we cannot have the total streams logic for this one. So we need to find a certain logic that allows us to calculate the total number of repetitions for each track. And how can we do it? Okay, so one thing is clear that we will be using the main data frame for this, because if we are anyhow interested in total number of streams, we are going to work with main data frame. Okay, so let's firstly see how main data frame looks. Okay, so we have n time artist name, track name, everything is simple over here. MS played is the total number of milliseconds or the total duration for a track for which the track was played. Date, time, basic thing, then a stream ID and an artist ID and track ID. Okay, if I sort this my end time in ascending order, you will see that my stream ID looks like a row number, which is incrementing by one each at each step. Okay, so this is because when in the data modeling steps when we created a stream ID, we used a simple for loop for that. I think the for loop or a range function for that. Okay, so this is an incrementing value. Okay, and from here, what do we need? Okay, we don't need anything. This is how the main data frame looks. Okay, now I want to see, for example, as you can see in the main data frame, the local train was looped or it was repeated for 2 times. Okay, similarly I can show if possible for any track. All I want Okay, over here we can see that Akhri Khat was also repeated 2 times. Over here we can see this particular artist was also repeated 2 times, and over here we can see that only the artist was repeated 2 times but not the track. Okay, so Chulu was the track I started my 2024 with. Hmm. So let's see the logic behind this. For that, I have created a Google Sheet over here. Okay. I have 4 column tracks, increment RN or row number, we can also say it, track RN and then streak ID. Okay. So let's see how many tracks we have. We have A, B. Okay. We have total only 2 tracks, A and B, and they are for how many times? A, 1, 2, 3. Okay. For a total of 9 times we have. Okay. This is an increment row number, just like our stream ID. This is just like our stream ID. It is incrementing by 1 at each step. Okay, pretty simple or basic thing. Then over here we have a track RN or track row number. It shows the row number for each track on the and it is sorted in ascending order. Okay, so for example, A occurred for the first time over here. Then we have track RN for A is 1. B occurred for first time, 1. B occurred for second, then second. B occurred for third, then third. Okay. Similarly for everything, A occurred one over there, so this is the second occurrence of A. That's why we have two over here, and this is how we will build the track RM. So pretty simple stuff. Over here we have streak ID. This streak ID is nothing but subtraction or difference between increment RN and track RN. Okay, so we have the streak ID. Now what we have is the lo- logic. Okay, so this was the whole step of reaching table from where we can uh, retrieve or get an idea of how many times we have looped a particular artist or we have repeated a particular artist. For example, if I group by in this particular table with tracks and streak ID. Okay, if I group by with tracks and streak ID, what will I have? Tracks and streak ID. Okay, the first one would be A and 0. Okay, and I will have one column called count. So A0 count is how much? 1. Okay. Similarly, if I go and have a group by of B1, so how much is the count of B1? B1 is repeated for this much amount of time, which is total of 3. Okay, so B1 was repeated for 3 times. Now I'll come to A3. Okay, A3. A3, and we can see that it is for 2. And similarly, if I go B3, this is also for 2 times, and A5 for 1 times. Okay, so this gives us total number of repetition for each track. Over here we can see that A was repeated just for 1 time. Over here we can see B was repeated or looped for a total of 3 times. Again A was repeated for 2 times. Again B was repeated for 2 times, and then A was repeated for 1 times. Okay, so what this will help us in finding the most looped artists from this table. Now we can have an idea that our most looped track is this particular track, and this track is track B. So we'll build a logic to reach this step in finding the most looped track. Okay, so let's come again to the DAX part. Now I'll create a new table to have more clarity. We'll not cluster our main DF. Okay, so I'll create a new table and I'll use our DF table for that only. Firstly, let's name this as loop master, and I'll say from main DF give me end time. Okay, end time to sort my result, sort my columns, and then okay, we are working with tracks, so let's have track name, and then the incrementer, which is our stream ID. Okay, so if I run this, I should get a table with end time, track name, and stream ID. Okay, and this is fine. I can also sort this, sort ascending. Okay, so after this, what do I need? Um, this is I have got the incrementer. I've got the incrementer. Then I need track RN and then streak ID. So let's firstly build the track RN. I'll add columns over this table that we have just created. Okay, and name should be track RN, and the logic for that we'll use rank. Okay, and we'll use in DF order by should be by the end time in ascending order. I don't know how this is. Okay, and then partition each it by the name of track. Okay, so this should give us the result. And before getting the results, let's make a guess how everything will look. It would this is the first occurrence, then it should return one for it. Similarly, first occurrence one, first occurrence one, first occurrence one. Is there any track with the second occurrence? Mm, okay, it's very hard to find any track with second occurrence. Okay, we have a second occurrence for this particular track. So this particular track over here would have one, and over here it should return two if the DAX was good enough. Let's see. Okay, two and one. Okay, so this means that this worked. Now what do we need? We need our streak ID, or the streak ID is what? It is the difference between these two columns. Okay, so I'll build a new column. Let's call it streak ID is equal to difference between stream ID and row. So stream ID of loop master minus track RN of loop master. Okay, now what do we need? Okay, so it is very hard to find duplicates over here. And let's see if any duplicate is there. Okay, 5 first duplicate, but okay, the track name is different. So if we group by the secrets and 5, me and you 5, so there would be no loop. The loop value would be 1, so it is not that we are looking for. 1919 again, different tracks. 41, 41, 41 three times. Okay, 3 times 41, and out of which 2 times there is a loop. So when I group by Akhri Khas and 41, I should get 2. This means that the streak ID is also uh, calculated uh, as we wished it to be. Now what do we need? Okay, so this means that this particular part is done. Now we want to have this particular part. Okay, and from this particular part, there are two men, uh, two steps to it or three. After firstly at this particular table, okay, from that table I have to find this particular value, a maximum value of it, and then for this maximum value, what is the track for it? Okay, so I'll use max x for finding this, and let's see how it will be created. Okay, so in loop master, I'll create a new measure. Let's call this measure most looped track is equal to the first variable that we'll create is, let's call it a equals summarize or group by not df, what is the name, master loop master. And from loop master, the first column would be track name, and the second one would be our streak ID. Okay, and then the name of this column should be streak length. Okay, the expression should be distinct count of streak ID. Okay, now I'll create my second variable b. B is the variable which will hold the 3 from over here. You know, the maximum value of here. You can say that max is equal to 3. Okay, so b will hold this value, and that will be like this. Max x I'll use. Table should be a, and streak length should be the 1. Let me. So this will, if we'll implement this logic over there, then b is equal to 3 now. Now what do we need? We need to find the artist, the track name for that. So I'll use a filter logic over there in my table A, and filter the streak length is equal to b, which is the maximum value. This will return me a table like this. This will return me table which has only this. Okay. So from there, I want to select this particular column, the this particular track name. But it is possible that there is a chance that suppose that this was not 1, this was 3. Okay, so then there's a tie, and in that case, what I want to choose the bin, matlab, the lexicographically uh, smaller track name. Okay, so how will I do this? Is I would use a minx for over this particular track name. Okay, and that will reflect this. So on this filter table, this filter table gives me what? This filter table gives me this particular stuff. Okay, filter table gives me this particular stuff. Oh, from this filter table, I want to have this particular one. So I will use a minx for this. I will use minx for this. This minx will result in what? This minx will result this. Okay, so this minx will work on the this minx will work on track, and it will return me A as the smallest track name. Okay, so I think I've messed up very much in the explanation part. So I'll use the minx on this filter table, and this minx should return what? The name, uh, which is this. Okay, I think, and I can also do for the image. I think image. Okay, let's not create image by this. Hmm. Just return C. So I think everything is perfect and it should run. Okay, let's create a new card. And in this new card, add a calculation or the measure. Okay, so now it is. Okay, there is some issue with this. I think we have messed up somewhere in a function or the measure. The most loop track was, but we are getting this particular. I think um, distinct count of streak ID is perfect. Streak length. Filter. Okay, so this part is. Let's start from over there. Okay, we don't need to count the streak ID. We were counting what we need a stream ID for counting it. Okay, so now I think this will work. Okay, now it is perfect. Okay, if we want to create an image, let's see how I can create one for an image. Okay, this is my image card, and I will loop master. I'll create a new measure. I'd say most looped image. I'm not giving it too much of description. I say, okay, look, just use filter. Filter the table track name and filter expression with track name is equal to most loop track. Okay, this will filter it, and from there select only the image. Select columns from this particular table. The image, image link, yes. Okay, and where is the okay not looped image? Okay, so this means that this particular visual is working just fine as we wanted it to be. Okay, so now let's come to the third and my favorite, which is which was very easy to come up with. Okay, uh, what's okay? This is main versus main versus feature. Okay, so this is the feature that is not that was not easy to come up with because there was limited data. Okay, but by the help of Spotify Web API, I made sure that I have the sufficient data to create this feature. And now that I have all the data, I will show you how I created this particular feature. So I will build only this particular part. Okay, I'll not get into the details of how I built all of this because we have an idea of how I created this particular visual. We can then simply create all of other things as well. Okay, so let's firstly understand that this main versus feature thing. Okay, I will go in a flow. I'll show you what. Um, let's go into my table view and let's get into tracks. Okay, let's mm, okay, let's not get into tracks. I'll show you from the DAX query view. Okay, filter my track name main tracks column where track name is equal to this, or maybe I think this is it. Okay, I will run this. Okay, so this will give me the track stats, and now where was it? Hmm. As you can see, these are the feature artists for this particular track. As you can see, there was one, two, three, four feature artists, and one this particular. Okay, and now I'll show you one more thing. If I go and show you DF, okay, main DF over here also DF, you can see that these are the feature artists. Says on beat, Raga, Encore, Boy. And if I go and search on my main data frame, what the stats for this particular track, okay, you can see the main artist name is different. The main artist is this particular artist. And if I want now, I think you have understood the problem over here. If I want to, understand this particular artist and get, stats like total streams and other stuff, I need to find this particular artist in my main data frame as a feature artist also. Over here, you can see that the main data frame has no feature artist for it. So if I can add a feature artist for over here, then I will have for this particular track over there the four or five artists, the artists that we saw. Okay, so for that I'll get all of these through the help of Power Query. Okay, I'll use an merge query. Mm, 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 mm. After merge main data frame, from the main tracks, I'm merging what on my on my tracks. I'm merging the feature artist for that particular track. Okay, we don't want for new main data frame, and this is my tracks. Okay, I want from track name to track name. I think okay. Mm, okay, so this is the feature artist. Now I've got the feature artist for all of my tracks. Okay, then let's close and apply. Now let's once more understand our table. Okay, this is the main data frame. Now you can see that a main data frame, as you can see, a main data frame over here. Okay, this one is pretty big. As you can see for this particular track, Jani is the main artist, and these are the feature artists. One, two, three more feature artists. But the thing is, to filter out Jani is pretty easy because this is the value. This is the whole value of is this is the record in this particular column. Okay, so this is very to filter out Jani is pretty easy stuff. But from these feature artists, it is not easy to filter out one particular artist because this whole thing is in string. Okay, so we cannot filter out. For example, if I want to, I'm seeing my stats for Talha Yunus. Okay, so it is very easy to filter Talha Yunus in this column because we can. It's very easy because Talha Yunus is a single value on that column, so it can be done very easily. But I cannot filter out this particular column on the basis of Talha Yunus. I can filter it out, but not not with a simple logic. So for that, I'll use a string search operation. Okay. So how I will do string search? I'll show you over there. I can show you in the DAX view also. Okay. So evaluate, filter my main data frame, df, and I'll use search. Okay. So I want to search what artist. Let's go for okay. We did for youngster earlier, so let's again go for youngster. Okay, within text is DF का street कहाँ है? Feature artist. Okay, start position 1 is not 0, and close this. If I go this, Control Shift T. Okay, now you can see artist name is as on the beat, and this is the particular track. But we were searching for Youngstar. So where is Youngstar? Youngstar is in this particular column. Okay, we can see the Youngstar is there. Youngstar, 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 Youngstar. Okay. So this is the string search operation and we'll use this. Okay. So let's get into the report view very quickly. And on which table should I create a measure? Let's create my measure in the artist table only. So before that, let's prepare everything. Okay, so this is which one? Okay, so we need a slicer button. For that, I'll create a very quick table. Okay, let's call it type, and the type should be what? The first one would be main, second one would be feature, and name this versus and load this particular table very quickly. Hmm. And then let's create our slicer. Okay, then create a slicer. This slicer, give it type, and let's change its layout a little. Okay, so this is a slicer, and let's get the image also. And before that, I'll create one more slicer. In this slicer, I'll add my artist names. Okay, so I've added my artist name and I'll open a search button for my artist. Okay, this is the image. For the image, let's give the image links. Okay, so image link is there. Why is it not showing anything? Okay, it is showing now. Now what do we need? We need okay. Let's get into that. Get into it directly. Create a new measure that counts total number of streams as main and as feature. So why is it taking so much time? Okay, we get okay. I think it is lagging. I think I should remove this visual. Instead of this, I think I would use this visual. Okay, and in that I'll add my image link. More than one image. Okay, so after that, what I can do is create a new measure, call it versus count. Okay, vs count. Okay, so first variable which would be the artist. Artist is equal to selected value from name of artist name, main artist name. Okay. Second thing that we need is type. TP is equal to selected value from, okay, was this the type? Do we need was, okay, now we can return. Okay, conditional logic if type or TP is equal to main, then the stuff is pretty easy to come up with. All we need is, what do we need? If it is main, then I'll count rows. It's simple. On what? I'll count on a filter table, and the table name would be df, and expression would be artist name in df is equal to artist. I Okay, so we can close the first result, and if it is not main, which means it is uh, feature, so then I'll use the same logic in the df. Okay, I'll filter on or search artist. Within text is the feature artists of then start with 1, if nothing then 0, close the filter, and then again close the count rows, and then close the if statement. Okay, so this was, I think, the most simplest of all of them to build. Okay, now if it is done, what I'll do is I'll create one more card visual. In this particular visual, I'll expand it a little. I'll add the versus count. So, okay, what is how it is showing 27 feature 27. Okay. So because we have not selected name, it is showing us feature. I'll just change this visual into for selection. Okay, so now it is working. So let's verify our results. Okay, if I select the youngster, we can see 111 as feature, and if I go main, it shows 172. Let's verify this. Okay, as main total streams are 172. If I go feature, it is 111. Okay, now when we have a table, as we can see that we have a table. Where is my? When these tables are the one through which we can create anything that we want as we have created in that particular page. Okay, I think this video is too long now. So thank you if you were watching till the very end, and bye.